The management at Titan is joining us right now, and we're going to be talking about what have numbers and what have sort of sales broadly looked like in the July to September period. That's the second quarter. S. Subramaniam, CFO of the company, is with us on a phone line from Bangalore. Mr. Subramaniam, good morning, sir. Prashant this side. It's always a pleasure to have you with us here. So this quarter was supposed to look pretty good in terms of sales growth because of redemptions, right? And I remember you telling us that as those advance purchase schemes get unwound, people would opt for jewelry, right? So has that happened? Could you confirm that for us now that the quarter is pretty much behind us?
Yeah, that's right, Prashant. We have seen people preferring to buy jewelry, even though we gave them the option to buy either take it back in cash or buy gold coins. So the heartening part was that they chose to buy jewelry, which is a good thing. Therefore, you're right. This quarter, in terms of growth, will be quite high, primarily because of this reason. Having said that, I think we are also seeing a sentiment picking up. I think things are slightly better. The very fact that people chose to buy jewelry when the choice was given to take cash back means that there is some optimism clearly in the customer's mind, and we are therefore hoping that the festival season also is expected to be slightly better than last year.
So, would you want to put out a estimate? I mean, I know numbers, but a range or ballpark. What would sales growth be because of essentially people up?
Yeah, I won't be able to give you numbers that the quarter be over. But we, as I said, this quarter will be a bumper quarter in a way because of this Golden Harvest Scheme redemption, and hopefully next quarter we should look at on a base perspective, things should be much better. The only issue is for us, because of the advance purchases, we are not going to get any of the Golden Harvest customers for the next 2 quarters or for the rest of the year as such. Therefore, and it contributes around 30% of our revenues. To that extent, we are going to get hampered. But we'll have to see. We are hoping that the festive season, by and large, is better. So it should offset maybe some of the reductions that we will otherwise have faced.
So the third and fourth quarter would essentially see a drop, right? Only 2 quarters, you said.
Yeah, it could be a drop basically because of these advance purchases. Yeah.
Okay, and what? I mean, you're saying 2 quarters because things will pick up again as the new schemes, etc., kick in.
Yeah, because even if the scheme starts now, they won't translate to purchases before the end of this fiscal. Even if we start the scheme in October, I think the earliest we can do is late October. Because we have a 30-day cooling period with the ROC. We have to file these returns, and therefore the earliest we could start the new scheme would be sometime in end of October. And for that to translate into a sale is going to take some time. Yeah, so I don't see therefore any sales coming out of the Golden Harvest Scheme in the next 6 months.
Yeah, and okay, and you're saying that you'd launch the replacement scheme sometime by the end of October.
That is right.
Can I ask you so the scheme is still yet to be unveiled, but what is going to be the big difference between Golden Harvest and its replacement scheme?
Well, structurally there can't be much of a difference. There will not be much of a difference. Obviously, we have to comply with the new act, and therefore to that extent there will be some reduction in the return that we could offer the customer. It has to be in line with that. So otherwise, there will not be much of a difference.
Right. And in terms of how this was helping your working capital, etc., by the beginning of fiscal 16, you'd get into that kind of comfort zone again?
Yeah, I would think so. Yes, because by the time we start getting the deposits. We would start the advances under the Golden Harvest Scheme. I think we would start having more cash. But don't forget that there is also a cap of 25% of net worth. So technically the scheme cannot be what it was earlier, where we had deposits almost close to 45% of our net worth under the scheme. So that now will be lower. So it gets capped to 25%.
Okay. You're saying the amount of advances that you can take are now capped at 25% of the net worth?
That is right.
Right. If I don't remember the number exactly, could you remind me what were the total advances under the Golden Harvest scheme?
We had up to 1,300 crores.
1,300 crores or so. And what would be the limit under the new 25?
Yeah, it will now be roughly half that.
About around 650 odd crores would be the cap, basically, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just to come back to the second quarter, the July to September period for which you will report numbers, can you tell us the redemption that you said has taken place, right? People didn't opt for cash, they wanted jewelry. What kind of jewelry? Was it studded jewelry? Was it coins? What was it? Because I mean, that would give some indication about profitability.
Yeah, it is a combination of both plain gold jewelry and studded jewelry. In terms of coins, the redemption was very, very low. So whether it was coins or cash, it was low. It was largely in terms of jewelry. But yeah, you would find possibly plain gold jewelry higher this quarter than normally would have been the case.
Would you say that overall margins would be similar to the first quarter?
Well, margins are going to be a little tricky to answer now. I would prefer to wait till the quarter is over, because there are a few things which will actually decrease margin percentage this quarter. One is the fact that this Golden Harvest scheme is sort of in a way bunched in one quarter. So the entire return, the discount that we offer, gets accounted in one quarter. So to that extent, there will be a reduction, and that, along with some accounting issues on the premium that we had to pay for, in the past, when the gold was in short supply and premiums were going at between $75 to $100 earlier. So from an accounting perspective, some of that will get hit our consumption this quarter, whereas the market premium today is only in the range of $10 to $15. So that's what we can collect from the customer. So there is a gap between accounting and of revenue and consumption. So to that extent, there will be some impact on margins. And even the hedging that we did, what we did in the international markets, the benefits of that will come in later only, at the time of consumption of that lot of gold that we bought. So it will start accruing only in next quarter.
Okay, just one last question on underlying volume demand in the jewelry segment. How are things? You said first quarter, when we spoke after the results, you said it's better than the last quarter, things will improve. What would you say about the second quarter?
Well, second quarter also was quite good. I think despite the fact that our sales...
The base demand, excluding these purchases.
Exactly. You're right, exactly. What I'm saying. I think even without that, our demand, the situation should have been better. The growth would have been fairly decent.
Okay, all right, got that. Thanks very much. Would talk to you, sir.